We have seen some incredible survival games release over the past year, from the massive popularity of Palworld to the incredible huge updates to both Ark and 7 Days to Die. There are certainly some huge games to get lost in. Xbox and Xbox Game Pass is providing all of us gamers with a huge amount of survival games, and today we will narrow down this expansive list for you. Today we will be covering the 25 best survival games on both Xbox and Xbox Game Pass in 2024. My name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Subscribe for more Xbox content every single day, and let's dive right in. Kicking things off with something truly unique, Palworld is unlike any survival game I've ever played before. Imagine taking the nostalgia of Pokemon, but mixing it with third-person shooting and throwing in some base building for good measure. This sounds absolutely wild, right? But trust me, it's an absolute blast. You will get to tame and train pals by using them in battles, or even putting them to work in your own base. It's a strange yet wonderfully addictive mix that will keep you coming back for so much more. I spent countless hours just exploring and discovering new pals, and let me tell you, some of them are as dangerous as they are adorable. Next is Valheim, and this game really does hold a special place in my heart. The first time I stepped into this Viking-inspired world, I was blown away by the sheer scale and beauty of it all. Don't be fooled though, as Valheim is as brutal as it is beautiful. You'll need to gather resources, build sturdy shelters, and fend off mythical creatures just to survive. What I really love most is the sense of progression in this game, with every new weapon and every piece of armor feeling like a huge achievement. Plus, the boss battles, well, they're just epic, and the thrill of victory is unlike anything else you experience. I still remember the rush of taking down my first troll, and wow, what a moment it was. If you're like me and love the idea of exploring endless galaxies, No Man's Sky is the game for you. What started as a simple space exploration game with a very poor launch has evolved into one of the most expansive survival experiences out in gaming today. You'll travel from planet to planet, each one unique and full of surprises, some pleasant and others not so much. Survival here means managing your resources, upgrading your gear, and making sure your starship is in top shape. I've spent many hours myself just wandering the alien landscapes, mining resources, and sometimes running for my life from some pretty terrible creatures. It's a game that constantly surprises you, and it's one game I highly recommend. State of Decay 2 is for all of you who, like me, have a fascination with zombie apocalypses. But this isn't just about mowing down hordes of the undead, though there's plenty of that in the game too. What really hooks me in this game is the community management aspect. You're responsible for a group of survivors, and every decision you make can mean the difference between life and death. Balancing your resources, fortifying your base, and choosing who to save or leave behind really adds the layers of strategy to the chaos. The Juggernaut Edition, also included on Xbox Game Pass, takes everything up to another notch, with improved graphics, new content, and even more reasons to jump back into the fray. Now, let's switch gears for a moment. Medieval Dynasty isn't your typical survival game, but is a blend of survival, RPG, and simulation set in the Middle Ages. Honestly, it's one of those games I didn't know I needed until I started playing it on Xbox Game Pass. You begin as a simple peasant trying to carve out a life in a harsh, unforgiving world. But it's not just about keeping yourself alive, you'll also have to build a village, manage your people, and maybe even start a dynasty. I found myself lost in the daily grind of farming, hunting, and crafting, all whilst watching my little settlement grow. It's a different kind of survival experience, but one that's deeply rewarding and surprisingly relaxing. If you ever wondered how you'd fare stranded on a desert island, then Stranded Deep is the game for you. This one hits close to home for anyone who's ever had a fear of being lost at sea. You'll scavenge for resources by crafting tools and staying alive, whilst also navigating the dangers of the ocean and the island itself. I do remember the first time I built a raft to explore other islands. It was such a thrill, but also a stark reminder of how alone you truly are out there. It's a survival experience that's as tense as it is captivating, especially when you realise just how fragile your life can be in the face of nature's wrath. Next up, Conan Exiles, and this one's for all the fans of gritty, brutal survival in a savage world. Set in the universe of Conan the Barbarian, this game is all about survival of the fittest. You'll start with nothing but your bare hands, and you'll have to gather, craft, and fight your way to survival. What I really love about Conan Exiles is the sheer freedom it really offers. You can build towering fortresses, raid other players, and even take on massive mythical creatures. The game's world is as unforgiving as it is beautiful, and every victory feels hard-earned and incredibly satisfying. Trust me, conquering this world is just no small feat, so definitely give it a go if you haven't already. Grounded is one of those games that brings back childhood memories in the very best way possible, except this time you're the size of an ant and the backyard is a vast, dangerous world. I was hooked from the moment that I started playing this exclusive. The survival mechanics are solid with crafting, base building and resource management, but it's the unique perspective that really sets this game apart from its competition. Every blade of grass feels like a towering tree, and even the smallest bug can really be a formidable enemy. There's a real sense of adventure as you explore the miniature world, and I've had some truly heart-pounding moments running from spiders that feel like monsters. This game is absolutely fantastic by Obsidian Entertainment, and I cannot wait to see what more updates they bring in the near future. Astroneer is a breath of fresh air in the survival genre, quite literally. Set in a colourful alien universe, it's all about exploration, creativity, and surviving on new, strange planets. What's great about Astroneer is just how it encourages you to experiment and build without the constant threat of danger hanging over your head. I've spent hours just terraforming the landscapes and elaborating my bases, and just discovering plenty of new resources. The game's charm really lies within its simplicity and the joy of exploration, and it's one game that's really hidden on Xbox Game Pass. It's incredibly satisfying to watch your creations come to life on these beautiful alien worlds. Now, Minecraft. Where do I even begin with this game? This game is a classic, and if you somehow missed out on it, now's the time to dive in. What's amazing about Minecraft is just its endless possibilities. You can survive against hordes of zombies, build your own sprawling city, or just relax and let your creativity run wild. I've spent countless hours now just digging, mining, building and crafting, and I'm still finding new things to do. Whether you're a survival purist who loves the challenge of a hardcore mode, or someone who just wants to create and explore on your own, Minecraft does have something for everyone. It's the ultimate sandbox for a reason, and it's still as addictive as ever. Next, we have Ark Survival Ascended, a game that's just an absolute beast, quite literally. You're stranded on a mysterious island filled with tons of dinosaurs, and your mission is to ultimately survive. You may be thinking that's easier said than done, but Ark combines survival, crafting, and taming mechanics in a way that's incredibly addictive and not done in other games. I still remember the first time that I tamed a T-Rex myself, and it was a game-changing moment that made all the hours of grinding just totally worth it. The game's world is incredibly vast and dangerous and full of tons of surprises, so every day in this game is just a brand new adventure. The improved graphics and frame rate in this game with the new update just makes it incredible, and whether you're playing solo or with friends, Ark really offers some endless excitement. Green Hell is for those of you who enjoy a truly hardcore survival experience. Set in the Amazon rainforest, this game does not hold your hand. Instead, it throws you straight into the deep end, and you'll have to manage your health, sanity, and physical well-being while facing the dangers of this jungle. I still remember the first time I got lost deep in the forest with night falling and had no idea how to get back to my camp. It still to this day was one of the most intense gaming experiences that I've ever had. The attention to detail in Green Hell is absolutely incredible, making every moment a fight for survival. The Xbox version of the game just recently got a Series S and X patch, so definitely check it out if you haven't done so already. Now, Rust is a game where survival is just the beginning. In this multiplayer-only experience, the real challenge is dealing with other players, and there's a ton of them because this game is just so widely known. You'll start with nothing but a rock, and from there, it's just a race to gather resources, build a base, and defend yourself from everyone else. Rust's community is just known for being ruthless at this point, which makes every encounter a high-stakes gamble. Will you try to find an ally out there, or will they just betray you? The tension is always high, and the stakes are always real. It's a game that will really keep you on your toes, and if you're looking for a survival experience that's as social as it is brutal, then Rust is the game you will need to try out. 7 Days to Die is a unique blend of survival horror, tower defense, and open world exploration. Every 7 days, a horde of zombies will attack your base, and it's up to you to prepare. During the day, you'll scavenge for resources, build defenses, and try to improve your chances of survival. But ultimately, when night falls, the real terror actually begins. I do love how this game will constantly keep you on the edge, balancing the need to explore with the urgency of preparing for the next horde. It's a game that really does reward strategic thinking and careful planning, and when your defenses hold up, it's just incredibly satisfying. Subnautica Below Zero is a sequel that takes everything great about the original Subnautica and just adds even more depth. Set in a frozen underwater world, you'll explore alien-filled oceans filled with wonder and danger. The survival mechanics in this game are incredibly tight, but what really stands out is just that sense of discovery. Every dive underneath the ice feels like a new adventure, with stunning environments and creatures that are both beautiful and also terrifying. I spent countless hours myself just exploring the depths and always wondering what I might find next. If you love the original, or even if you're just new to the series, then Below Zero is a must play. The Long Dark is a survival game that strips everything down to the basics, just you, the cold, and the wilderness. There are no zombies, no monsters, just a relentless challenge of surviving in a frozen wasteland. What I really love about The Long Dark is its simplicity. It's all about managing your resources whilst finding shelter and trying to ultimately stay alive. The game's atmosphere is hauntingly beautiful, and every decision does feel incredibly weighty. Do you risk venturing out into a blizzard to find food, or do you stay huddled in your shelter and hope you have enough to last? It's a game that really does make you think on your toes, and every survival story in this game just feels unique. Now, before we dive back into these awesome survival games, a quick thank you for making this one of the fastest growing Xbox communities here on YouTube. Right now, 84% of you are not subscribed, and we'd love to get that down to at least 80%. If you've been enjoying the content and want to stay in the loop with everything Xbox, hit that subscribe button and join us on this Xbox journey. Thanks again for your continued support, and now let's jump back into these survival experiences. Terraria might look simple at first glance, but definitely don't be fooled. This 2D survival game is packed with just incredible depth. It combines exploration, crafting, building, and combat in a way that's incredibly addictive in a 2D fashion. The world is procedurally generated, so no two playthroughs are the same. I just love how Terraria will let you dig deep into the earth, discovering so many new resources, battling monsters, and building your own little world. The sense of progression is just fantastic, with new weapons, armor, and abilities constantly opening up new possibilities. Whether you're playing solo or just with your friends, Terraria is a game that's really easy to pick up and incredibly hard to put down. DayZ is a game that takes the concept of survival and really cranks it up to 11. Set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by zombies, the real threat here isn't just the undead, it's the other players. In this hardcore survival game, you'll have to scavenge for food, water, and supplies, whilst also avoiding both the infected and hostile survivors. What makes DayZ truly intense is the unpredictability of human nature. Will the next person you meet help you, or will they take everything that you've got? It's a game where every decision matters, as the game does have permadeath. One game that doesn't get shouted about enough is The Flame and the Flood, and it's a survival game with a unique, almost poetic approach. You play as a young girl and a dog traveling down a procedurally generated river in a post-apocalyptic America. It's a journey of survival, but also one of discovery and resilience. You'll have to, as you guessed, gather resources and craft tools, and ultimately fend off dangers as you make your way downstream. The game's art style and soundtrack are absolutely beautiful, creating an atmosphere that's both melancholic but hopeful. It's a game that feels more like a journey than a challenge, and every playthrough will tell a different story. Frostpunk is a city-building survival game that's as much about tough choices as it is about survival. Set in a frozen world where the last remnants of humanity struggle to survive, you're in charge of managing a city and its entire people. Survival does come at a cost though in this game, and the game constantly forces you to make difficult decisions. Ultimately, will you prioritize food, warmth, or security, and how far will you go to ensure your people's survival? The moral dilemmas in Frostpunk are what really make it stand out, and that's why we got the second entry coming to Game Pass later this year. It's a game that really challenges you, not just your strategic thinking, but also your entire ethics. Overland is a tactical survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world where you and a group of survivors must make it across the entire country. The game is all about managing your resources, making tough decisions, and dealing with the constant threat of different monsters. What I love about Overland is its minimalist design and the way it forces you to think on your feet. Every move does matter, and the game's roguelike elements mean that no two journeys are the same. It's a game that's very easy to pick up, but incredibly challenging to master. With Stalker 2 coming out later this year for both the Xbox Series X and S, I think it's time we mention the Stalker trilogy, and it's a collection of games that are legendary in the survival genre. Set in the irradiated Chernobyl exclusion zone, these games combine survival, horror, and first-person shooting in a way that's both immersive and terrifying. There's a reason these games are a cult classic, and you need to pick them up if you haven't done so already. You'll ultimately have to manage your resources, avoid deadly anomalies, and fend off mutated creatures and hostile humans. The atmosphere in these games is second to none, and every step you take into the zone feels fraught with danger. If you're a fan of survival horror, the Stalker trilogy is just a must-play. This War of Mine offers a very different kind of survival experience, one that's deeply emotional and very thought-provoking. You play as a group of civilians trying to survive in a war-torn city. There's no combat here, just the harsh realities of trying to stay alive when everything around you is falling apart. You'll need to scavenge for supplies, manage your group's morale, and make heartbreaking decisions about who to help and who to leave behind. This War of Mine is a game that really stays with you long after you finish playing, and is a powerful reminder of the human cost of survival. Outward is an open-world survival RPG that offers a truly unique experience. You're not some all-powerful hero, instead you're just an ordinary person trying to make your way in a dangerous world. The game's survival mechanics are very tough but fair, and the emphasis on exploration and discovery is just fantastic. You'll need to manage your health and your hunger, along with your thirst, and whilst also dealing with harsh weather, dangerous wildlife, and other threats out there. What I truly love about Outward is its focus on planning and preparation, and it's one game that heavily goes under the radar. Every journey in this game feels like a true adventure, with risks and rewards that make it worthwhile. Rounding out our list is Don't Starve, a survival game with a quirky, Tim Burton-esque art style and a brutal difficulty curve. You're dropped into a strange and unforgiving world where everything is out to get you, and the only goal really is to survive as long as possible. The game's crafting system is deep and rewarding, and the sense of impending doom keeps you on your toes at all time. I've lost count now of how many times I've actually started over in Don't Starve, but every time I do, I'm reminded of why it's just such a classic. It's a game that will really challenge you, frustrate you, and keep you coming back for so much more. So there you have it, 25 of the best survival games on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass in 2024. Whether you're exploring the stars, surviving in a Viking wilderness, or just battling dinosaurs, there's no shortage of incredible adventures waiting for you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Xbox content every single week. Let me know in the comments below which survival game you're diving into next, or if there's one you think should have made this list. Whilst you're here, why don't you check out our most recent video of the best games coming to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass this week, and if they're worth your time and money.